The good old 2x2. You know, there's a reason why 2x2s are one of the most popular bases in Rust. Number one, they're easy to live in. I love Rust bases that are easy to live in. Two, they're really cheap. They're easy to build. They're also configurable, so if you want to change the layout inside, you can do that. But there's a couple of things that you can do to a 2x2 to make it much, much stronger than normal 2x2s. This base incorporates those. I'm going to show you what they are. First, let's take a look at it with a small base tour. You can see there's a metal shop front here. You could also have a window. This is intentional. It lets people outside see what's in it. There's a fireplace in this room, and there's a sleeping bag. And then there's the entrance with a wooden door, single wooden door. That's intentional. Almost everything you see about this base is intentional. It doesn't appear that way at first glance, but it absolutely is. Wooden single door, a single sheet metal door, a furnace and a workbench. Those are because everyone needs a furnace and a workbench. And then finally the main loot room and the TC. You can stack more boxes in here if you'd like, if you're going to go all out and put the drop boxes in and get 14 large boxes worth of storage in here. Go ahead, go for it. And then finally the respawn room with our fireplace and sleeping bag. And notice that it's all the way around the corner. It's protected by this sheet metal double door. So whenever you look on the outside, you can see that the room is enclosed and that there's just a fireplace and a sleeping bag in it. But the strength of this base is something that Mr. Flack calls misdirection. Mr. Flack's misdirection video is, in my opinion, one of the best Rust base building videos I've ever seen. I'm going to link it in the description below. Misdirection is an extraordinarily powerful base building technique in Rust, and it goes a little something like this. This fireplace, it's not a fireplace. It's a cover for our stashes full of rockets and sulfur and whatever valuables you want to put in here. And I'm sure you're thinking to yourself, well, what's particularly powerful about this? You know, the bad guy, they could just destroy the room and destroy the fireplace and take all your stuff. Yeah, they could. But you can't build your bases about what someone could do. Build your base about what they will do. Why would someone blow into this room? There's a fireplace and a sleeping bag. And if you're like me, the first thing you think of whenever you see a fireplace in someone's base isn't, oh, that's where the juicy loot is. No one thinks that. And the fact that we're letting them see in makes it even more of a chance that no one's going to blow into this room. And think about it. Let me explain something before I go into the details about the wooden door. This base incorporates something that I like to call controlling the raid path. It's something that I don't think enough bases in Rust do. You can control the way people raid your base. Look at this base. It's stone all the way around. There's metal on top. But why is this room metal? Well, it's the main loot room, of course. But what does that mean? It means that no one is going to rocket from the top, because you're not going to get into the main loot room with 4 rockets. So what's the point? It'd be cheaper to go through a wooden door. Wooden doors make raiders salivate. You can knock these things down by blowing on them, basically. Just shoot. I think it's like 1 rocket will get through them, or a couple satchels. They're nothing. So whenever a raider comes to raid your little shit shack here, whether it's a starter on the wipe day, or whether it's your base in the snow biome to go mining in, they're gonna go through the wooden door. After they go through the wooden door, they go through the sheet metal door. If I use a couple of rockets here, it's still not gonna take down the room with the fireplace in it. Once they're in here, and yes, this door frame is intentional, you shoot a couple of rockets to knock down this door, and the splash damage is not gonna hit the room here either. So this room is intentionally protected by the way that the base is built. No raid path is going to go into this room, period. They're not going to rocket these 2 walls. If they're going to rocket anything, it's going to be these 2. They can see in the window of the base, so they know the layout already. They know that this is the entrance, and here's your respawn point. Therefore, the juicy rooms are the 2 in the back. They're going to rocket right here. And if they do that, that's okay, because our good loot is in here. One thing that's super important is whenever you build any type of Rust base, don't take all of your loot and put it in a hiding spot. Hiding spots are great for rust bases, but they only work if you leave something out for the raider to have. Mr. Flat goes over that in his genius video, and he's totally right. Leave 5 or 10% of your loot in the raiders' hands, and they'll stop looking and leave. They'll say, well, that kind of sucked, but at least we got something, and they're out of there. They want to leave before they get counter-raided. Don't give them a reason to go exploring in your base. If they come in and blow into your main loot room and all the boxes are empty, they are going to explore, and exploring raiders is what you do not want. So how this base would work is, at night or whenever you know that there's no one outside, pick up the fireplace, stash your loot, replace the fireplace, make sure to repair it back, and something else that you should do is, you have to make it believable. Put some meat in it, put some charcoal in it, put some wood in it. Don't put 400,000 wood in it, but you know what I mean. Put 231 wood in it. Make it believable, so that in the event that someone does accidentally blow in here for whatever reason, even though it's extraordinarily unlikely, they're going to see, hey, it's a fireplace and a sleeping bag just like I thought it'd be, and then they leave. Now, fireplaces can be picked up. If you hold E on them, you can pick them up. We don't want that. So how do we prevent that? We prevent that with an external TC. You can see this one right here. External TCs, essentially every Rust base should have one. I know that some people think that smaller bases don't need them. Completely disagree. If you don't have an external TC, people can grief your base. If they were to blow in here and, you know, blow down your TC, they can just put a new one down, put new doors in your base, and now it's their base. So even if you do have loot under there, you can't get to it. You know, you can spawn, but it's their base now, so you can't get out, and you're gonna have to do the craft 75 picks and try to get your way out, which is really dangerous. The best thing to do is to create an external TC. That means if they break your main TC, they won't be able to put down a new one because the building coverage overlaps. If you have the reinforced window glass, use that. It's definitely best. It makes it 8 rockets for someone to blow an external TC, and spoiler alert, no one's going to spend 8 rockets to blow your external TC for a 2x2. They're just not going to do it. If you don't have window glass, you can just use sheet metal doors. Put a sheet metal door right here, and a sheet metal door right here. But I have to say, if you're going to use sheet metal doors like this, make sure to put a window. If you have the window glass, you don't have to do that because the window glass is the window. But if you're going to put a sheet metal door on here, you have to have a window, a shop front or a window that shows them the inside. Because whenever you give the raider information, you're actually boosting your own defense. They can look in here and see, hey, there's a sleeping bag, it's an external TC, I'm not going in there, there's nothing in there to take. And therefore your base, even if it's raided, it's still yours. And that's really, really important. So these mental misdirection tips that I've shown you, these are the kinds of things that make your base super duper powerful. It's the reason why you last all the way to the end of the wipe with 95% of your loot. Sure, maybe you get raided a few times, but you know what? Let them have it. Let them have 5% of your loot, and they're going to be scratching their heads whenever you bust out there with your tier 2, tier 3 sets right after you're raided, and you know, they're going to think, oh, well, that must not have been his base, and it feels really good for your base to stand on its own. If your base incorporates misdirection, it means that you can even be raided offline and survive. It's all about thinking like a raider. So now that I've shown you this base, I'm going to show you how to build it. It's actually really easy. I put this marker here down. I'm going to get rid of that. So the first thing you need to do is craft your stashes and put them on a hill. They have to. It can't be a super steep hill. Just, you know, one like this is perfectly fine. Put them down, and then you need to put your first foundation down. And this foundation does have to be on there the right way. If it's too far back or too far forward, or if it's too high or too low, it won't work. The best thing to do is to watch the very edge of the foundation and put it right past that last row of stashes there. And once it's right past it, go down. And once you get about at the halfway point of the second row of stashes, that's good. And then make sure to test it out. Make sure you can't see the stashes on the other side. And test the fireplace, because sometimes the angle will mean that the fireplace won't go down. But as you can see, this one's good. Next, go ahead and put the second square down, and we need to go 6 out to build the external TC. If you build the external TC right now before you even get the 2x2 built, you'll be able to put it a lot closer to your base than you'd normally be able to. So go out 6 blocks. This is the first one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and put a triangle as the 6th. Then go backwards. Obviously these would be twig if you're playing on a vanilla server. And now that we have our external TC triangle down, go ahead and set it up. Again, if you don't have reinforced window glass, that's fine. You can put a sheet metal door for now. Except don't put your TC too close to it or it won't fit. And just like that. Keep it like this for now. Don't build the square here yet. The square will help with the building privilege coverage, but just leave it like this for now. Come back to your base. And now we need to, make this back wall half height so that you can put the triangle down. Now we need to put the TC down for our 2x2. And if you turn it just like this, it'll fit snugly in the corner. That's really the only place it'll fit, by the way, so that's why this base is laid out like it is. It's intentional. Then build the rest of the base. Turn this around because I know the comment section will let me know if I have a wall backwards. Once you get the hang of this base can be built very, very quickly. It's just something that I really like about it. It's really easy to build. Once you get those stashes down, that's really the hard part. Here you can use either a metal shop front or you can use a window. So if you have the window, the reinforced glass window blueprint, you can use that here also. Down goes the fireplace. Down goes our sheet metal door. And now you can deck it out with large boxes, or if you're one of those barbecue small box drop box freaks that can fit 1,000,000 boxes in here, you go right ahead. I don't have the patience for it, so you can put your workbench here, and y'all know how the rest of this build goes. But the important part is that you've got your stashes down, you've got the fireplace down. Make sure you put a sleeping bag in here. And you now have an extraordinarily strong 2x2 that uses misdirection as its main defense. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next base build. Thanks.